Welcome to Podsauce. I'm Dax Holt.
I am Alesha Renee. We are the hosts of Podsauce, your podcast discovery show.
So many podcasts out there. People are always looking for recommendations, so that is where we come in. We're the ones sifting through the 3 million podcasts, 50 million episodes to bring you guys the best recommendations we can find.
It's just what we do.
What we do, and we are good at it too.
If I should say so. Myself in the news.
By the way, you haven't even commented once on my wonderful socks.
Well, because I got you those for Christmas. You should be wearing them. Okay? You're doing exactly what you should do. Actually, I'm not sure if those are the ones I got you or if those are the ones Angie got you. Angie, our producer, because
These, I think, were from you, and they're friends related because she knows I'm a big Friends fan.
You are.
And these are the most epic socks.
You're most welcome.
So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Kicking it back to why we are here.
Mm-hmm. It's not about my socks?
It's not about your socks, but thank you for the love. This segment is one that you guys really love, so thank you so much. It's Murder Most Foul, a true crime podcast. Here we go. For all of our true crime lovers out there, I got a podcast for you that is totally jacked. This one is called Families Who Kill the Donut Shop Murders. Get into this.
Families who kill, like multiple families who get together to kill?
Yes, and this particular one is the Donut Shop Murders.
Okay.
Now, what was so interesting about this particular family, the McCarys, is that they went relatively unnoticed for quite some time, and they put estimated about 20 people in the ground.
What?
And it's called the Donut Shop Murders because most of the people that they had abducted or killed were from a donut shop.
Wow.
No creativity
Can
there.
you imagine me like, hey mom, what you doing tonight? Let's go kill someone.
At the freaking donut shop. So it was led by a psychopathic patriarch and his son-in-law. So get into that family bonding. Carl Taylor and Sherman McCary, father, son-in-law. They go on a cross-country spree of just like picking up people, murdering them. So this podcast has real life interview tapes, interview footage from what is it, they're questioning?
Interrogation? You know I went to school to be a law.
I went to school for law. But today is an off day for me, honey. I can't put my words together to save my life. But this podcast was really interesting. It also was very dark and really creepy. Carl is currently serving time. I'll let you guys listen to the podcast so you can find out what happened to the rest of the McCary family. But yeah, 20 people all across the country, and most
Just
of them they
wanted
abducted.
some donuts.
People out here minding their own business at the freaking donut shop. And
Just
you
get in a donut hole and you slash them.
Talk about a donut hole. Get it? Hole in... No? All right. I can't win them all. You try to put some light in these dark spaces, but that is my murder most foul true crime podcast pick.
Well, if you need a little lightening up after that dark podcast, we do have Case Kenny coming on in a little bit. He's got a huge podcast right now. New Mindset, Who Dis. It's huge on the charts for mental health.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have him on a little bit, talk to him about how he got into this, what he talks about, and just why his podcast is so successful.
You know, with the rain, you got to have a little sunshine, and that will be our sunshine. So guys, don't go anywhere. We have more. This is Podsauce. All right, guys, welcome back to Podsauce. This is the time of the show that I don't think most of you care about because it's time for Dax's pick.
Looking at the current scoreboard, I'm still way ahead of you when it comes to better recommendations for our followers.
You tell.
For my pick of the week, the podcast that I believe you guys out there will love, especially if you're into sports.
Okay.
All right, this one is called Sports Wars.
You don't even like sports.
Dude, this one is so good.
Okay.
You don't have to like sports. You just, because it is encompassing with some of the biggest names in sports and some of the either internal battles or external battles that they've dealt through in their career.
Okay.
Each segment is broken down into about 6 episodes. And so some of the bigger topics have been Tyson versus Holyfield, or Tiger Woods versus the field, or Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre fighting for a position. So all of those super interesting. They dive deep into it. I listened to the Venus versus Serena.
Ooh.
Ooh, it was so good. It's so
Okay.
good because I didn't like. I remember the storyline coming, years ago about them battling it out on the court. But this really broke it down to childhood, to being raised in Compton, and them practicing on courts that were just full of like needles and broken glass, and the coach that originally took them on, and how their dad was involved. But then Venus was really the spotlight.
Yeah.
She was the focus of everyone. She was this rise in the tennis world, and Serena had to sit there and watch her succeed and watch her succeed. And what I love is they dive into Serena's life and how she was, the dad called her the meaner one. And by meaner, it was she wouldn't give up. She wasn't going to let someone do better than her. So I don't think he meant it as like a negative thing,
No.
just like she had the drive unlike he's ever seen
Super
in
focused.
anyone. And it was really interesting to hear this like background between her struggle with wanting her sister to be good, but wanting to beat her sister. And then Venus's struggle of she wants to be the best, but she feels bad beating her little sister. I mean, so good, back and forth, dives into all of it. You hear sound effects, you hear games. So I really, really enjoyed this podcast. It's called Sports Wars. So if you're into sports, if you like famous feuds, you will like this podcast.
Now, is that particular episode, was it from a first-person perspective, or was it them breaking down different interviews and
So this
material?
is hosted by Dan Rubenstein. He's from Sports Illustrated, SB Nation. He's done a bunch of that. But it's him breaking down their careers.
Okay.
So he's talking about, but
So
he's
it's him
also
saying-
and he's inserting different clips from the past that like make you feel the moment.
Yeah, I will for sure have to check that out. One of the things that I love so much about the Williams sisters, it's just, Serena gives her sister her props, which I appreciate. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with saying, I know y'all think I'm the GOAT, but y'all got to remember how my sister used to deuce it.
So good. Wow. Make sure you head on over to our YouTube page at the Podsauce. Like, subscribe. You get so much goodness over there.
Yeah, we're handing out great things, and our handles on social are, per usual, at the Podsauce.
Don't go anywhere, guys. This is Podsauce. Welcome back to Podsauce. All right, I'm excited about this one. Mental health is obviously a huge topic when it comes to podcasting and the podcasting world. And we're going to bring in our next guest named Case Kenny. He is the host of New Mindset, Who Dis?
Not the up on the who dis.
Who dis? Who dis? I mean, how else would you say it? Yeah. Who dis?
New mindset. Who dis?
Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay.
New Mindset. Who dis?
Case, what's up? Come on
I love
in.
that.
Welcome.
I'm gonna have you record my intro for me. That's great.
I am available. There was a fee, but I'm available.
Are we waiting?
I'll pay big bucks for that. I love it.
Oh gosh, guys. Okay, so I'm a huge mental health advocate. I told Case before we got to rolling, I was like, I actually enjoyed your
She
podcast.
warmed him up real big before the camera started. I actually liked your podcast.
Well, because here's the thing. In the podcast space, in case you can agree, there are so many different, mental health podcasts, relationship-oriented podcasts, all the above. And sometimes it's just the messaging is a little,
Yeah.
Because mental health is such a hot button right now. I feel like everyone wants to get on that bandwagon, but I can just hear the intentionality in his approach, and maybe that's what I should have led with. I can hear his intentionality in the episode. I listened to Dating While an Empath. We'll get into the bones of that later. And I just really liked his approach. So that's what I meant.
So, Case, can you give us just a brief introduction to what your podcast is about? Quick, for someone who has never heard it.
Yeah, of course. So it's about mindfulness, mental health, self-help, self-development. There's all these words that are thrown around. My focus is on this concept of mindfulness, which by my definition is just how can you be more self-aware? Because I think self-awareness is the key to really everything in life. It's the key to dating compassionately. It's the key to finding what makes you happy, not what makes someone else happy, what makes you happy. The more honest you are with yourself, the more self-aware you are. the happier you are. So I think those things go hand in hand with mental health. So the podcast is quick, little 20-minute quick hits of myself, just a guy talking through these topics relating to my life and giving what I think is practical, no BS advice to help people be more self-aware.
Can I give him a round of applause for 20-minute episodes, by the way? Case Kenny,
Yeah.
20-minute episodes. I'm in, I'm out. I can digest that daily versus people that want to talk to me for an hour.
I
And
knew
I
that's
don't
what you
have
were
the
gonna lead
time.
with. I knew that's what you were going to do. I'm like, 20 minutes, Dax is sold. Did you is there a particular episode that you listened to that
So
you
I
resonated
listened
with?
to, I actually wrote it down.
Before
I
we get
listened
into
to the healing episode. And you know what, it's funny because when I'm going through it, it's like a lot of the headlines I want to click in, but I'm like, which one? And it's not like I feel like I have major healing in my life. I just thought that sounded like a really interesting topic to join in on. And then I also listened from Zero to Baddie.
You had to tap into your inner bat. Did you want to like make sure?
I don't know. The headline sucked me in. I was like, I gotta listen. Like, what is he talking about? And it's so I like that one, Case, because during that episode you even referenced like this headline is a bit of a joke, but it talks to a lot of people out there into embracing yourself and like building up your own inner confidence.
Yeah. So, I mean, I use a lot of, I would never say, clickbait or anything like that, but I like creating really relevant conversations using culture and things like that. And yeah, the Zero to Baddie episode was literally just encouraging people to literally remember who the heck you are, remember where you came from, where you are now, and being like, I've leveled up. I'm not going to let anyone or any of my self-doubt or anything take me back. I'm not going to level up and then go back to a level I already leveled up from. And, it's just like from baddie, like people like to call themselves baddies or kings and queens and whatever. I just think it's a funny cultural thing that people do. And I was like, that's great. I love people who are confident in themselves. I love people who say, I'm the prize. I love that. I love a little bit of swag and a little bit of, confidence. I think it's amazing. So I like to really dig into those topics, but by showing people why that's true. I think it's great in life to have confidence, but the most powerful confidence is to know why you're confident. Not just I'm a confident person, but here's why. And that's proof. And when you have proof of those things, it's much more difficult for a breakup or a rejection or self-doubt or insecurity to pull you back from somewhere that you've already done the work and you've grown up and you've matured. You're not going to go back. So yeah, a lot of episodes are like that, but that one in particular was just kind of funny because of the title.
Well, there's definitely something to be said about the person, the everyday guy or woman who is just sharing their life experiences with other people and hoping that, it encourages and helps others along the way. Not everyone, because not everyone, even with the educational background, can speak to someone going through a particular thing like an everyday person, and I mean that just in regards of you just feel more personable, with the approach.
Absolutely. By the way, how do you decide what topic you're going to talk about on a weekly basis?
Yeah, so it's one of two ways. So I've done 360 episodes, which is kind of a lot. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that you could slice life into 360 different topics. But the first way is my life. I'm always inspired by different things that happen in my life. I feel like I've got, enough dating stories to use or career stories or just things that happen in my life from living a great life. So I lean on those. The other thing I really like to do is I like to go online. Instagram is a great sort of inspiration. And I see a quote. I love reacting to other people's quotes and being like, here's my opinion on that topic. Like there's always quotes. The quote, there's a quote I reacted to the other day that was like, you should match someone else's energy. Let them set the tone and then you match. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't really agree with that. And here's why. Here's why I think you should set the tone. Here's why I think you should be vulnerable and try and sensitive first. And then I gave my opinion on that. So I like doing that. Here's my life, or here's my reaction to something else. And there's enough life experiences and temptations and things to talk about in life that I feel like I always have something and I'm always inspired to talk about something.
So in that same vein, Case, just mainly because, with there being 3 million different podcasts out there, obviously we're not familiar with, the bones of every podcast. Have you found yourself speaking through one of your episodes from a place of, I'm not here yet, but this is what I'm learning about this thing. Let's say you have a really bad day and you're not in your best space, right? Have you ever found, and it is courage, to do an episode from a place of, I'm not in a good space, but this is what I know can probably help someone else who's not in a good space?
100%. Yeah, I'd say I do that fairly frequently. I mean, I'm living life just as everyone else. I'm not all butterflies and rainbows, and I certainly don't have everything figured out. So honestly, usually a lot of the time, I'll start the episode by saying, here's something that's really making me anxious lately, and I'm still working through it, but here's how I found a little bit of clarity. And I'm going to talk through it, because talking through it helps, and maybe you can get something from it, and we'll go from there. So a lot of time, honestly, that's it. I'd say there's very few topics that I'm like, this is the answer.
Yeah.
I'd say there's very few topics that I would say that. A lot of them are just, I'm 33 years into this. Here's what I've learned to this point. Maybe this will help, and we'll go from there. Or here's the resolve that I have today. It might change tomorrow, but here's what I figured out today.
Well, I just asked that because, you said you use Instagram as a great source of inspiration, which I think you phrased it correctly. It's just inspiration, because, Instagram is the highlight reel, right? Like, everyone goes on Instagram and they just post all the good. Seldom do they ever say, yo, I'm in the weeds of this thing right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can
100%.
appreciate that.
So, Case, you have a podcast that is high up on the charts of mental health, but what are you listening to yourself in regards to podcasts? Because we are a podcast discovery show. So what is Case listening to?
Yeah, I listen to a variety of podcasts. I mean, I like Jay Shetty. I'll listen to On Purpose. I do like to listen to some of the thought leaders in the self-development space. So I listen to that. I know Lewis Howes and School of Greatness. I also listen to the things that I don't so much drift towards the host. I don't know them that well, but like Impulsive with Logan Paul and that gang. I really like that kind of thing because the guests are really interesting. Like, I'm all about trying to further my perspective and learn from random people that I might not have heard of, and learn from their perspective. So I'd say at the top of my head, like those are three that I lean towards. My goal is just to be like, I think a lot through the lens of an artist. Like, I just try to be inspired by what they said. Maybe I can listen and something I would love to learn. I'd love to learn, but also be inspired. Oh man, they talked about this topic and their perspective was interesting. I'd love to give my spin on it. So it's, I feel like I'm always like working and being inspired in that sense. But yeah, I'd say Jay, Lewis, Impulsive, like things like that, fit that bill very nicely.
But listen, if people want to feel inspired, this is definitely a podcast you're going to want to check out.
I actually like it.
In the word of Alesha, she actually liked it.
I actually like it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Case.
So make sure you head on over to podsauce.com. We'll have a link directly to New Mindset. Who dis?
Oh my God.
I'll follow up with the contract for the voice recording.
Don't do it.
Funny.
Don't gas him up.
Funny.
Don't gas him up.
Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back. This is Podsauce.
Welcome back to Podsauce, guys, your podcast discovery show. Dax,
Yo!
you likes to bring weird and off the beaten path podcast recommendations.
I do. I love me an odd pod. And
Yeah, you do.
If this is the first time you're tuned in. My odd pods are just a podcast that's out there that maybe people think is unusual.
Right.
It's not just an interview. It's not sports. It fits outside the mold of what you would think of a podcast.
Some of his previous podcasts were, about cereal, people walking around, listening to
just unusual stuff. So I got one for you this week. My odd pod for this week is called Relaxing White Noise.
I'm here for it already.
Right?
I need a nap, and I love a good ambient noise in the background.
So this is legit a podcast that is 8 hours of noises to relax you, to calm you, whether maybe you're studying, maybe you got a baby that needs to go to sleep, whether you need help sleeping, 8 hours of just birds chirping, waves crashing, white noise, whatever the case, the sound of like just inside of a jetliner. They've got it all, and you just put it on and relax.
Is that relaxing to some people?
I think it's just the sound of things happening in the background, but not like one particular sound. So it gets people to get into their Zen feel.
Okay, I'm here for it. So the relaxing white noise.
And can I tell you,
What?
this podcast is so popular, It is number 12 on the Spotify health and wellness chart.
Let me tell you something.
Noises, you guys.
I believe it though. A lot of people need what they need to relax themselves. And so, you know, I actually get that from the Calm app, you know, listening to like ambient noises and whatnot. So no, I 1000% believe it.
Hundreds of millions of people have already like been downloading and listening to it. Like that blows my mind. To me, I was shocked because it's an unusual podcast, but it is a super successful odd pod.
Well, if you guys need a little assistance to get your cat nap on or your good 8 hours, you guys should definitely head over to podsauce.com, and there you will find more info on relaxing white noise, Dax's Odd Pod Pick of the Week. While you are there, sign up for our newsletter because you'll be the first to get all the in-the-know things about the goings-ons in the world of Podsauce.
Yes, and a big thank you to Case Kenny for stopping by. It's always fun to have someone on the podcast that brings a lot of energy.
Yeah.
I like, you know, mental health. We've talked about so much, but I like his perspective of being a normal guy to just help influence or change your perspective on the way that you're looking at life to maybe boost you up, put a smile on your face, a quick 20-minute episode to get you on your way to a successful day.
Get you in, get you out, and get you on with your day. And also, head over to YouTube. Go to our YouTube page because we have a visual aspect to our show. We feel like you guys will love that.
Because y'all missing out on my socks if you're just listening.
No, you're missing out on these 5.0 feats on the wikis. Dax, tell them where they can go to find you on all your socials.
You can find me, it's pretty simple, at Dax Holtz.
And you can find me at I am Alesha Renee. And until next time, guys, thank you so much for joining us on all of our platforms. Until next time, be good to yourselves. Bye.